Narcissists, with their arrogance, control, and manipulation, seem invincible. They project themselves as powerful figures, as if nothing could shake them. Their facade of superiority makes them untouchable. But what many people don't know is that, behind this mask of confidence, the narcissist has a deep weakness: fear. And what they fear most isn't out of your control, it's within you. When you learn to act strategically, without falling into their traps, you can turn the tables and become the fear that keeps a narcissistic person up at night. In this video, I will show you how to do this simply and effectively. To overcome the narcissist, it is essential to understand how they think. The narcissist lives with a mask of superiority, always trying to show himself to be better, more intelligent, and more important than others. But behind this facade, there is a great fear of being exposed, rejected, or even worse, losing control over the people around you. They have a constant need for validation and love to manipulate those close to them. Knowing these insecurities is the first step to becoming a real threat to him. When you understand what he fears most, you can use this to your advantage and begin to reverse the roles. The narcissist wants you to be predictable, reactive, and submissive because this way he maintains emotional control over you. He feeds your self-esteem with the reactions he can provoke in you, especially when he feels superior or dominant. But what they fear most is indifference. When you stop reacting to his provocations, he loses the power he has over you. Showing that you don't depend on him to be happy or feel validated triggers a fear trigger that he doesn't even know how to deal with. Indifference is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful forms of turnaround. Nothing makes a narcissist more uneasy than seeing you confident and independent. They choose people they believe to be fragile, insecure, and manipulable because they can maintain control without much effort. But by building your self-esteem and becoming a self-sufficient person, you create an impenetrable shield. When he realizes that he can no longer reach you, he will begin to destabilize. His confidence will be like a wall that prevents him from touching you, and that in itself will be a threat to the way he deals with others. One of a narcissist's greatest weaknesses is dealing with people who cannot tolerate emotional abuse. They like to manipulate others and invade their limits to get what they want. When you start to set clear boundaries and stick to them firmly, you send a clear message. You will not be manipulated. The narcissist hates being challenged, and even more so when someone refuses his attempts at control. Creating these limits and not backing down in the face of pressure is like erecting a wall against it. Not only does it protect you, but it also makes him afraid of losing his influence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use against a narcissist. He waits for you to react to his provocations to continue the manipulation game. When you strategically choose silence, you break the control dynamic that he loves so much. Silence is a loss of control for him. Instead of fueling arguments or trying to explain your feelings, simply shut up. This creates a feeling of impotence in him, because he doesn't know how to react to a person who no longer falls into his emotional traps. The narcissist has an insatiable desire to be indispensable. He wants you to believe that your life is meaningless without him, that you depend on him to be happy or successful. But when you prove that you are completely self-sufficient, that your life can go on without him, it completely disarms you. The narcissist, no matter how hard he tries to maintain the illusion of being indispensable, becomes vulnerable when he realizes that you don't need his validation. This weakens your self-confidence and puts you in a position of power. A narcissist's biggest nightmare is seeing their mask of perfection and control ripped away. They are terrified of being exposed as insecure or manipulative because this would compromise all of their authority. However, you don't have to be aggressive or confrontational to expose him. Small observations and subtle attitudes can have a devastating impact. When you highlight his contradictions or hypocrisy in an intelligent way, without making a big deal out of it, you begin to call into question the image he tries to maintain in front of others. This type of indirect exposure is what scares them the most. By becoming a narcissist's fear, they are very likely to try to take back control in new ways. Subtle manipulations, veiled threats, or even attacks disguised as concern may emerge. Don't fall into these traps. The narcissist is a master at using these tactics to try to destabilize you. Keep your posture firm and continue to demonstrate the strength he so fears. By continuing to be an unpredictable person for him, who does not allow himself to be controlled or manipulated, you reaffirm your power. Now that you have in mind the strategies for becoming a narcissist's fear, the choice is in your hands. Remember, the power was never with him, but always with you. The key to turning the tide is in your emotional control, establishing clear limits, and building a self-sufficiency that disarms any attempt at manipulation. By becoming someone who is not afraid of him, but rather makes him fear you, you put yourself in a position of control and freedom. The narcissist may try to impose himself, but he will never be able to control someone who knows his own strength.